Hello, welcome to the Measure of Success. I'm Bissy Omi, and I'm here today with special guest DJAbass, which to many people doesn't need an introduction. He's very widely known on social media, so Instagram and YouTube, for example. You have your own YouTube channel. I believe 67,000 currently followers or subscribers at the moment.
Ironically, not that much though, but we're getting a lot of views. We're getting a lot of
Right.
views because it's a specialist channel. So people who come to the channel come specifically. You're either Nigerian or you love Nigerian food or you love African food. And we're a year and a half in, and also we're on so many multi-platforms as well.
Okay.
So yeah, but we're not doing too bad.
Good. Now, before we get started, I'm just going to allow you to give an intro as to who you are and what it is that you currently do.
Okay, so I wear a few hats. I'm known generally as DJAbass, but my name is Abbas Tijani. I've been a DJ for a minute, and my DJing was my entry point into my creative space. And from DJing, I also went into being a promoter of events, and then went back to my first love, which is media. As a broadcaster in the UK, we're the first generation of journalists, broadcasters on African TV in the UK on Sky. Ben TV in 2003 had a big program then called Intro with DJAbass, and basically it was at the early rise of the term Afrobeats at the time. So we did a lot in terms of pushing that brand out. I co-managed the Nigerian corner at the Notting Hill Carnival. And now I manage a lot of events. I have my own YouTube show, My Taste in Nigeria, a program that celebrates the best of Nigeria through food, fashion, events, personalities. And we just had our very first food festival a couple of weeks ago. So I do quite a few things, but everything revolving mostly around entertainment and culture.
Right. Okay. So, like you said, you do wear many hats then.
Sure.
But basically, your line seems to be in the sort of entertainment service
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm curating Nigerian culture in the UK. Our culture travels, it changes a bit because we now have a generation of Nigerians across the planet who were not necessarily born in Nigeria, and they bring a bit of where they are from and add it a bit to a bit of what we're bringing in from back home, and that creates a new vibe in itself. So part of what I do is curate that through some of the shows we do, through some of the events we do, and put it out there for people to know that, hey, this thing is dynamic. It's changing every now and then.
Absolutely.
So
I think you've come to this at a really good stage in time because suddenly Nigeria is on the map. We're not just known now for jollof rice, for example. We're known, as you said, for our music as well, Afro beats in particular at the moment, which is, really taken off. Our fashion as well is really entering onto the scene. So there's so many new sort of vibes to us that we have that people are suddenly, sitting up and saying, "Oh, Nigeria," and we're being looked at in a different way, or Nigerians are being looked at in a different way. Would you agree with that?
absolutely. A few years ago, well, perhaps a couple of decades ago, the general global vibe about Nigeria was not very positive. I'm sure you've heard the term 419, which is like a criminal code in the Nigerian constitution. And that term was used to refer to some, minority of Nigerians globally that were involved in this particular fraud. And even if fraud was a skill, Nigeria shouldn't even be in the top 100, But then, the media comes in, particularly the global media, and they almost made it like that's what Nigeria was all about. So it's good to see that a few decades down the road right now, Nigeria's soft power is one of the greatest assets it has, We're talking about Nigerian food. Nigerian food is everywhere. Everywhere you go right now, Nigerian food is the new frontier. But before that, we have Afrobeats, Through our music now, our artists are selling out stadia, they're selling out the O2. They tell guys like Whiskey or W, tell you, we've turned O2 into our backyard. They're all the time, selling it out. Fashion, Africa Fashion Week, pioneered by Nigerian fashion is everywhere. Nigerian movies, Nollywood, second biggest for volume on the planet. So our soft power right now is in the top 5 most powerful in the world. Clear to see through all these cultural indices we've talked about. So it's a great time to be a Nigerian.
It's definitely a great time to be a Nigerian, and I know that there are so many new entrepreneurs coming up, young Nigerians now who aren't just coming up with the traditional I need to be a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, etc. They really are coming up now with being very extremely innovative,
Absolutely.
and that also is creating a new kind of wave across Africa as well.
It's a huge wave. It's a global wave. And I'm sure you've heard of the DJAbass syndrome, which is the brain drain from Nigeria to the rest of the world. But what is happening now is something they describe as jakbada. Now you have some Nigerians actually going back home because now they're seeing, and they see Nigeria is still a developing economy. And if you put your thinking cap on and you're sharp, you will see the opportunities. You have to look beyond the media hype. You have to look beyond all the negatives. And if you have that vision, you will see it. So the good thing is now we have a situation where though some are leaving, some are coming back. Point in question, or point in case, Dirty December. Every December now, and Dirty December describes this movement that happens every December now, where a lot of young Nigerians go back to Nigeria in December, typically from middle of November up to early January. Lagos State recorded over 500,000 entries from the diaspora to Lagos.
Just Lagos.
Just for Dirty December, and you could see that there was a lot of infrastructural deficit. They couldn't really handle struggling with hotel accommodation. So a lot of people were converting their homes to Airbnb. But it's a good thing because they're coming in with billions of pounds into Lagos. So that wasn't the case up to like 5-6 years ago. So because you come about a lot of them, everybody talks about Dubai, all the major holiday destinations. Now, for young Nigerians living abroad, December now is the Moscow, and then it's a wave of the Afrobeats movement because a lot of Afrobeats, a lot of stuff with that. So with the festivals now, they're now domiciling in Nigeria, and I just see the business side of it now. It's all moving back. We go to holiday in islands like Bermuda, Barbados. These islands are just like 100,000. That's just like a small local government in Lagos. But we go there. Really, what do they sell to us? Those places, they're very provincial in look. Could be like Ilesha or Shobo in Nigeria. But then they sell something to us, make it a unique destination. It's not any different from Lagos or Shobo or Ibadan. That's what's beginning to happen now in Nigeria. But clearly, the Barbados and Jamaica have had time to build that infrastructure over time. And that's just beginning to happen in Nigeria right now. So it was first the brain drain from Nigeria to the rest of the world. Now it's beginning to shift back. Things are looking good.
And I know that certainly in terms of the infrastructure, it's picking up. There's now a train from Lagos to Ibadan, for those that know Ibadan. It used to be an arduous trek.
Very comfortable, nice train, by the way. Have you taken it?
No.
Very nice. It is better. Well, I won't say better, but it's just as good as what you get here to Manchester or any from London. Fantastic.
Very smooth sailing.
Very smooth.
Safe.
Air conditioned. In fact, you are chilling from top to bottom.
Right. So obviously you're a man that's actually experienced this as well then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's I love my country. I love my country dearly. And we know the challenges. No doubt. I'm a citizen of the world. But my moments in Nigeria are always fun. What I get in Nigeria I can get anywhere else. It's unique to Nigeria. And I just want the rest of the world to taste it. So either in the food, or in the fashion, or in the movies. We are a very unique people, Nigerians. I tell everybody that we are we're not just We are a very extremely unique people. We are achievers, we are doers, we make things happen. That is who we are as Nigerians. And there are just too many examples to cite. Put a Nigerian anywhere else, come back in a year's time, you see the difference. So I want us to celebrate that and build on that. More than anything else, we need to build on and when I say people who are Nigerians, there was a time a lot of Nigerians were not comfortable to say they are Nigerians, but we've seen all of that change right now.
Absolutely.
It has changed. So we need to we are a very, very special people, trust me, and we are the creme de la creme. And I say that anywhere, anytime. More people just have to believe that.
You're doing your bit to put Nigeria on the map as well. So I'm going to go back to the festival which you had a few weeks ago. So we're talking July 2025 now. This was a food festival which was celebrating Nigerian food in particular.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about that? So
I'm a foodie. I'm a foodie. That's who I am. And I've always celebrated Nigerian food, albeit subtly, put stuff on Facebook or Instagram. And if I see anything I like, or just do the commentaries here and there. And then during the lockdown, I'll sit down with my wife and we'll just watch YouTube. And then I was introduced to a guy on YouTube called Mac Weens. Half German, half Thai guy. He just goes around the world trying different types of food. And we'd watch him from morning till night. He's been doing it for years, so we had a lot of catalog. We just watch him. And I'll tell my wife, I'd love to do this food, Nigerian food, I just love to do this. But, it was a lockdown. We didn't know where we were going. Then we came out of lockdown. And then the idea was still kind of like chewing. I thought, okay, what's the low-hanging fruit I could pick on this? And I just thought, okay, Nigerian restaurants. I know we have over 400 in London. Many didn't know those stats. Bear in mind, in my early days as a DJ, I used to play in some of them. And because I'm a foodie, I know where. So I knew we had the numbers. So I started compiling the numbers. And when I hit 300, I knew, yes, we have over 400. I thought, okay, let's start with Nigerian restaurants. January 14, 2024, we kicked off the first episode of my Taste in Nigeria, going to restaurants. I just give them a call. Look, we're coming to film. Just get some of the delicacies out. And 7, 8 episodes in, it became a hit. Unbelievable. Quickly, and we hit our monetization level by the 3rd edition, I think, which is like 4,000 hours and 1,000 subscribers. Very, very quickly. And I started thinking, this thing is looking like, so what do we do next? So we're going to launch the first directory of Nigerian restaurants in the UK. And then I realized, directory thing is a bit more cumbersome. We thought, okay, I wanted to do the food festival last year. I thought, we're not ready. So we had basically a year and a half to build our following on YouTube. And that was what you saw that day at the festival. Half the audience there were our followers on YouTube, and the other half through advertising and getting the word out. And it is the first Nigerian food festival in the UK. A lot of people would do African food festivals. And not knocking anybody, but there are 54, 55 countries in Africa. In Nigeria alone, if I was going to do the Calabar Food Festival, I can't cover it. Just Calabar. And then you have Delta. So even when we say Nigerian, we're just basically bringing the most popular items. So I think my belief was that trying to do an African food festival was almost impossible. So I just thought, let me just keep it Nigeria, because our cuisine is one of our greatest strengths. And what you saw on that day, though it was a good representation, it's probably just about 10% of what we really have to offer.
Now, I was actually really impressed that day. I mean, the weather was definitely on our side, which definitely does help. We went there. It was in Chingford in London.
My hood.
So that's your neck of the woods.
Yes.
There. So very local to you. Keeping
Absolutely.
it
keeping it local.
Absolutely. And obviously, it being the first one, don't know what to expect, but we turned up and really, really impressed. Both with the organisation of the event. It was really well organised. You had your food stalls in one area, and then you had others in another area. So it was very, very easy to sort of go around.
Navigate.
It was really well attended, and that must have been a plus for you, basically.
Absolutely, yeah.
To know, because the word got out.
Mhm.
Obviously, people were coming, and I know that when we were queuing up, we had our tickets, but
That
I heard
helps.
I heard people say, "Okay, no ticket, no entry." So
We had almost hit our limit at that point. Yeah.
absolutely. So, and like you said, it is a way basically of just celebrating Nigerian food, Nigerian culture,
Culture, yeah.
and in a big way. And it was attended both by Nigerians and also other Africans,
Non-Nigerians,
non-Nigerians.
fans of the show mostly.
Yeah, absolutely. So is that something that you're going to be doing annually, or
Yes, it's going to
several
be.
times a year
Oh
in
no.
different
So
locations?
it's on that day. All the vendors did so well. It was like, so when are we having the next one? You're having the next one in the next few months, and then I'm thinking what it took to make that. I'm thinking, guys, I'm gonna first recuperate for the next 2 weeks. But it was great feedback to have, and really, it ultimately could be something we have twice a year. We can accommodate that, but we've not planned for that. So the plan is to have another edition next year, but this time around now we'll be doing multi-cities. So we've already been in talks with Manchester, been to Birmingham, just to go around, and we're not reinventing the wheel. It's just celebrating Nigerian food. The spectrum is broad. Come out, come and taste a bit of Nigerian food, and while doing that, elements of the culture. And we're going to have adding stuff to it as well. It's a family fun day. Come on with your family. There were a lot of families there tuning, and we had a great location. So feel free, do your thing on the park. We had a DJ room. I want to dance. Go into the DJ room. Some of those. So it's just to enjoy Nigeria for 7-8 hours in one small in a space. That is the plan, and I believe. I know the Caribbean. There's a Caribbean food festival, absolutely fantastic festival, and they've been doing it for a year. And what they do is just take it to every city. In a year, they probably do about 20 cities or 30 cities. And just pick your city. Just pick your city and you go. And that's what we're looking at. And I believe the Nigerian brand is strong enough to do that. I had the option of doing the Africa thing, but I said, nah, I think the Nigerian brand is strong enough to fly this. And I believe we're strong enough to do that. And anchoring on food, we've not scratched the surface. Trust me, Nigerian food is so broad, from the north to the east, the west, the south. And that was just a little taster. So the plan is to take around.
So many people obviously know jollof rice, and there's always the contest is who does the best jollof rice. Is it Ghana, for example?
Great conversation to have.
Or is it Nigeria?
It's fun.
And it's always wonderful, and it's always done in jest, in fun.
Because it's not even Nigerian originally. Anyway.
It's not Nigerian originally.
But then we have our version. Because it's originally from Senegal and Gambia. They're kind of like interlocked. And that's where jollof rice. There's actually an area called Wolof, and that's where it comes from. But then obviously, before the Europeans came to West Africa, we didn't have Nigeria, we didn't have Ghana. We had kingdoms that were all interlinked. So there was a lot of trading, what we call modern day Ghana. There were people there. So if you go to Ghana, you find people who speak Yoruba, the Gas, or they have houses there. So they were moving around. It's just obviously in 1885 when the Europeans decided to partition Africa, they now put borders. But those borders were artificial borders. We had our ways of doing things. So our food traveled, no visa. So if jollof rice came out of Senegal, but through trade, it spread to other places. And obviously, like anything else, it's just like Chinese whispers. If somebody was out there listening to us and he was to go and relate what he heard here, his story would change a bit. And then the more it goes on, so obviously it came out of Senegal and Gambia, and then obviously got to Nigeria and Sierra Leone. It's in Nigeria, but they've all now mastered their different tastes. And they're all unique to them.
And also, you probably would agree that Nigerian jollof rice has evolved now.
Absolutely.
So we now have this smoky jollof rice, which
smoky patty jollof. Smoky patty jollof is different,
right? Okay.
Because when in Nigeria, when you do they have this iron steel pots, iron pots they do, you know them pots.
Yep, the big.
And when you put it in there, and because of the distribution of the heat, the bottom part burns first.
It has to burn.
When it burns, the smoke from the burn now starts to permeate the jollof. So by the time they start to serve, it's a different. So the Nigerian party jollof is different, and they've also now it has evolved to the point that those who also cook domestically at home can actually get that effect as well. But then it comes with a lot of secrets and stuff like that. But the Nigerian party jollof is one like no other. Trust me. And you can smell it. Even in the color, you can see it. And no one comes close. For me personally, the Nigerian jollof is king.
Right.
For me.
Okay. So you've heard it from DJAbass.
Yes. And if you've not tried it, go and try it.
Okay. Now, apart from jollof rice, now other things are also coming to the fore. So suya, very much so now, which is, would you call it our version of kebab?
Yes, definitely. It's grilled. It can be goat. It can be lamb. It can be beef.
Now, for those that maybe don't know what suya is, can you just explain?
It's barbecued meat, barbecued Nigerian meat. It can be beef, typically the brisket, which is what they call the torso, and some use goat, some use lamb. But it's basically it's barbecued Nigerian meat, suya. And very, very nice.
Where would you find that normally?
In the UK.
In Nigeria.
So it originated from the north of Nigeria, the Hausas and the Fulanis, but then it spread across Nigeria and also across the whole West African region, And when you go to East Africa, their version is called yamachoma. And then when you go to places like Congo, they have their own meat which is called taba as well, which is smoke. So different different forms, but suya is very West African. Nigeria, Ghana, most parts of West Africa, you find your suya.
Now, a few years ago, you probably wouldn't even have heard that there was a suya restaurant or suya venue in London or the UK, for example. Yes. They do seem to be springing up now all over the place. So again, it's another thing that is on the map for Nigerians.
Plenty. They've been there actually. There was one Obalende suya. It's been there for like 25 years ago. Started as a small van. He used to sell in the van, and then in front of the van, he used to park in front of one building, and then he brought the store there and then started doing in that store in Peckham, and then he had was it Peckham? Yeah, it was Peckham. He had one in Peckham, and he had one in Dalston, and that's like 25 years ago thereabout. Suya, of course, he sold other things, rice, but suya, we was known for suya. But between then and now, oh dear, no, we probably have 40 to 50 suya places in the UK now, in London.
Right.
They're everywhere with different, and no two are the same. They all have because about how you mix the yaji spice. The yaji spice is the active ingredient in the making of suya, which is that brown spice they use. But then, everybody adds a little bit of something, garlic here, ginger there. Everybody adds a little bit of something, and they are all unique. All of them.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so I can see again, apart from other things, you're also passionate about suya as well.
Oh yeah, no. I know my food. No, trust me. I'm a foodie. I know my food very, very, very well. Okay. That much I can tell you. And I'm not a bad cook myself, though my wife is still she's queen, but I do try.
Okay. Now, I'm going to scale back a little bit because I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself. So, DJAbass, you've told us the name DJ basically is because you were a DJ. So, how did that come about? How did you become a DJ?
So, back in Nigeria, while I was an undergraduate, I used to collect music and then record mixes. So, I was campus DJ for quite a lot of gigs. And the parties happening, just get a bass and I come and play. And then when I finished university, I started writing as a journalist, and that brought me into contact with more DJs. And that was when I started honing my skills as an actual DJ.
What sort of music?
At the time, US R&B, hip hop, soul, and a little touch of Nigerian music at the time. But it was mostly US R&B, hip hop, soul. That was it for me.
And this was in Nigeria?
This was in Nigeria.
Okay. And where in Nigeria are you from?
I'm from Oyo State, But I'm a Lagos, but I grew up in Lagos. I'm a Lagos
Right.
boy.
Of
I'm a
course.
Lagos boy.
Of
Yes,
course.
yes, yes. So I grew up in Lagos, and that's where we used to hang out. And because I was a journalist quite early as a freelancer, I had access. So I had access like so picture you're in the UK and the Guardian is like the equivalent of the Times in the UK, and you're like an in-house journalist. So I had access to every club, every single club. All I need to go there say I'm a bass from going. So I was meeting the DJs, I was meeting the club owners, I was meeting the club managers, and then that kind of like started introducing me into the entertainment thing in Nigeria. So coming into the UK in '91 as a 23-year-old, the question like, so how can I start to recreate what I left in Nigeria? But then I realized that the social terrain for Nigerians in the UK in 1991 was so different, you know. So it was first start getting records, and then asking, where do Nigerians go in this town? Where do Nigerians party? And a friend of mine took me to a place called Bootleggers in 1992. And Bootleggers was on Margaret Street in the West End. Thursday night, that was it. You want to know where Nigerians party? That was it. And I knew, yeah, nah, this is where I wanted to be. So started collecting my music. A couple of years later, became a freelance. And back in the day, we're just a handful of Nigerian DJs. But we're a lot of Nigerians, but handful. So house parties, Nigerians threw the best house parties. And the council will come and shut most down by 3, 4. But we had the best house
Was
parties.
that with the big boom speakers?
No, we're it's in the house. The problem was outside. Because typically, really, you're playing in a 2-bedroom council flat and you've invited 200 guests who are trying to park on your narrow street.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody calls the police, police show up, the council show up, and that happened for so long. And then at one point they clamped down where Nigerians now moved the party scene from the house to the halls, the council halls. And that was so, but back then, early 90s, it was house parties, trust me. And DJAbass was in the mix.
Right. Okay.
We were in the mix at the time, So, but gradually, when I went to halls, and then I became a promoter, and then started getting venues in the West End to do shows. People come down, But it was mostly within that community, very dynamic community Nigerians, and also a lot of the non-Nigerians Africans would also kind of like roll with us as well. So we had the numbers.
So was this London based or
Mostly London?
Yeah,
Mostly London.
mostly
Yeah.
London.
Yeah.
Okay, so there were enough Nigerians back then to
What are you talking about?
to have a party.
Nigerians everywhere. And then in 2003, which was a major, these are like key moments, a friend of mine, Ayo Shonaya, called me and said, "Oh, Abbas, we now have our own TV station." I'm like, "What do you mean?" So where are you? I was going out, says, "Meet me at Cleveland Street." Cleveland Street is just off Warren Street.
And this is in the West End.
In the West End. And Warren Street is where you have the BT Tower.
Yes.
And most of the TV stations or private television stations kind of operate out of playout centers around there because of the BT Tower. So it was a Ben TV, first Nigerian owned TV station in the UK on Sky. It was a big deal. And says, yeah. And then Ayo, my friend, was contracted by Ben TV to produce content for the station. And we've always talked about this show called Intro. And Intro was meant to be a music show celebrating Nigerian and African music. So I'm the DJ at the time. He invited me. I went there. I'm like, whoa. And he says, Intro, we've always talked about it. We're going to kick. I said, yeah, okay, let's do it. I thought I was going to consult, as a music person. We need a presenter. I said, I found him. He said, who? I said, you. I said, me. I've never been on TV in my life. He said, no, don't worry about it. We'll make it work. And they made it work between him and his friend. Our friend now, Timi Adebite, had the first episode recorded on Sky. So you have to bear in mind, every Wednesday, 8 p.m., 2003, April upwards, Nigerians will go home and watch Nigerian content on Sky. You need to throw yourself back to understand how big a moment this was. You can actually go, because there was no Instagram, there was no social media.
Didn't exist.
this was the social media of the time. You could actually go into your home, turn on your television, and watch Nigerian content. It was a big deal. So initially we thought we'd be playing American videos, and our show was simple: play the American videos, get the guests in. But very quickly we realized that now what we need to be showing is Nigerian videos, and we just changed that format, Nigerian videos. So all the artists in Nigeria, when they were coming to the UK, they would have to come on our show to advertise their own show, and then we'd go to Nigeria and do specials. Now everybody knew in Nigeria that they are playing Nigerian music on Sky. Sky was still a big deal. It was on Sky, and that just put me in a different stratosphere. Now I was not just a DJ; I was a DJ with a face on Sky TV with access, and Sky TV was seen across UK and Europe and some parts of Africa. So it repositioned me as a cultural figure for Nigerians, and it worked like magic. Intro with DJAbass, and then we did specials in America, across Europe. We go for the Grammys every year, and we did that for like 5 seasons in a row. It was such a great period.
So you would be invited to the Grammys?
No, we invited ourselves.
Okay.
That's a different politics. Because I had lived in America before, so we'd just go there, we'd apply. And you're probably hearing this for the first time. We'd apply to go there then, and they wouldn't approve, but we'd go all the same. And we'll go to the Staples Center where they would normally have the Grammys. And then you have so many people from across the world who would show up, different parts of the world. So we don't have invites to get in, but then we'll blag it at the car park. All the stars would, so basically speak with the whoever's managing the car park, and they'll show, oh, okay, Kanye West is here, Erykah Badu is here, and we'll hang there till they come. And we'll get our content.
Okay.
And then we'll wait to the very end where they're coming out and then speak with some of the winners. And we'll bring that over. At the time, you guys didn't know that was what we were doing, but we were blagging it. And we did that for 5 years. And that also was another major moment, because now there are Nigerian Afrobeat stars winning the Grammys.
Yes.
But back then, the point was just to show what was possible. And we'd live here and take 1 or 2 artists with us to just go and cover the Grammys. We'd stay there for a week. And in America, in that 2-3 week window, you'd normally have the Oscars, the Grammys, and the Pan-African Film Festival.
It was quite packed, really, slightly packed.
So we just turn on the camera and walk around Hollywood, and you see stars here and there. And on Grammy Day, we'll go there and get what we can get, And so I remember now, Burna Boy, I think, won the first Grammy 2021, Before then, Wizkid won a joint one with Beyonce. But then it's almost like we saw it coming. It's like we saw it coming, And a Grammy award is not really a reflection, because I'm worried about the validation bit, because our music has been great before the Grammys, But then the Grammys is the Grammys, huge award, it's got a lot of eyeballs, great. But the fact is, it only has 1 or 2 categories for Africa. We can never, ever cover the gamut of African music. But we acknowledge it. Anything that comes from anywhere, we'll take. I just want to see more African awards doing that. And then when the Grammys reach out, we'll take it. Because remember, this is also business and it's politics. Don't forget that.
Right. Okay.
Nothing is by error. Uh-huh.
So you've obviously lived quite a colourful life then, with your DJing, for example. It's like you said, it's taking you to far-flung places, and you've met many celebrities along the way.
A few.
Just a few. Just a few.
A good few.
Just along the way. Have you given up DJing now then, or are you still involved in
I can't. It's a job for life, but obviously I've restructured. So I'm not as active as I used to anymore. There's certain events I still do, because the skill is still there. The requests are still there. But then now I handpick the type of events I play. So I have a regular once a month feature every end of the month Friday with DJAbass fans who still want to hear you play. And that's just another Chingford location, neck of my woods. There's a beautiful event I love called Tower Chill Out, 4 times a year. I love Tower Chill Out. Mature audience, because now when our 50s are approaching 60, if we don't curate stuff for ourselves, no one's going to take care of us.
Absolutely.
We need to be intentional to create that entertainment for that group.
Okay.
So we're doing that very well. And that's why I still have to see myself doing certain things. So yeah, but I don't DJ as much as I used to. But yes, I do pick my gigs as a DJ, and I'm still DJAbass.
Always will be.
Yes.
Okay. So where would you say your main bread and butter is now then?
It's everywhere. I do a bit of everything. And the moment I decided to be self-employed in entertainment, what you first need to do in order to sustain yourself well is create multiple income streams revolving around entertainment. So I've been fortunate enough to be able to build numbers as a DJ, because what DJing really did for me was just build a following. But then I would DJ at private gigs, I would DJ at club events, shows and private parties. You realize that certain groups, as they get older, you don't see them no more. You get it? Your audience starts to thin out. But then I became a promoter. So now I'm not just a DJ. I organize events. So those same people now who may not come from our DJ gigs, but now I'm organizing an event around different themes. They would come out. Now, and then on top of that, I became a digital marketer. So the numbers I've built, some of them now are doing business, all types of business. They need to reach out to numbers. They come to me. Can you market for us? So I do that. Same numbers I'm building, because I keep those numbers. I have a huge database of them. All they need to know is what you're doing. Are you part of it? So it's something we can enjoy, and they'll show up. So, and then the marketing bit went on. Now we're doing food. Everybody eats. You get it? So they may not come to my club events, but they would come to my food events. You get it? They're watching the show, so they'll come out. Some of them even own restaurants now. We do a lot of stage plays, market for stage plays. So they won't do the club thing, but I want to watch a nice Niger stage play. And we have it quite a lot of. So I do quite a few things, but all revolving around entertainment, the creative culture, and Nigeria.
So you are very creative. That's obvious,
Okay.
plain to see. But you do also have a business head. You're
You
an
have to.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're constantly reinventing yourself.
Absolutely.
Where do you think that comes from?
I think it's been Nigerian. I look at a lot of our women. During the lockdown, if you understand the food space, the biggest distributor of our foods are not Nigerian owned. But during the lockdown, a lot of people were at home, and so many of our women now went into distributing Nigerian food. It comes in from Nigeria, they break it down, snails, crayfish, or whatnot, and they were distributing. And they were the first to break that monopoly. They were the first in terms of volume, because there were hundreds of them. And doing that, it's part of the Nigerian spirit. That indefatigable belief that we can do it no matter what, And they have their challenges, trust me, but they're still doing it. And the lockdown gave birth to that. So, and these are my people. I deal with them every day, one way or because, like I said, I've built numbers across the community. So what I do now is just give something to those numbers. And really, you can sell anything to them. You can market anything to them. Because what they're digesting when they were in their 20s is different from what they're digesting now they're in their 50s. Just make it available. So really, I can sell anything I want to. That's the long and short of it. I can actually pitch anything to them. The numbers are there. So a year and a half we started food. And already we're seeing the traction towards that. If you don't, somebody else will. And they may not even do it as well as you would. So any idea, if you can crystallize it properly, you can sell it or market it. And selling is not necessarily the best term to use, but you can put it in front of them and they'll buy into it. And I think that's what I've been able to use with my career, with the access, because also I believe we're a trusted brand. Most people that know me have known me for decades, So it's not a new brand we're pushing. And then the new ones that are coming on board as well, it's either from their parents or from our social media activation, and they're comfortable with the brand. And we've been able to build something that is sustainable within the community and that people are comfortable with. And I don't take it for granted at all. At all.
Good. It's very good to hear.
Good to know.
When I met you, not that long ago, actually, to me, you came across as being a very warm, humble person. For someone in your elevated position to deign yourself to talk to me, for example, how important do you think it is to be a nice person?
My greatest currency are people. My greatest currency ever. I meet so many people. You wouldn't believe the type of people I meet every day of my life, across all sectors of life. And just be decent, be nice. For me, life is not hard. I'm a chatterbox, as you probably have discovered. I'm that kind of person. I don't do airs. I like people who are spontaneous. That's who I am, and that reflects in everything I do. And I always have time for everybody, or I try to make time for everybody. As far as I'm concerned, everybody is important. You can't give time to everybody, but trust me, if you take that on board, you'll be fine. You will be fine. And I think that's a reflection of who I am personally. There's some people that are not, they are probably the introverts, that's who they are. But I think being an extrovert works for me. That's who I am. I can't act me, And at times it also comes with its own disadvantages, But I am who I am. I'm not going to change that for anybody, So when I meet people, and I make decisions very quickly, when I meet people and we chat and I think this will work, let's do it. I don't like red tape, and I deal with a lot of clients directly. If I was in Nigeria, maybe I would be a chairman. So I'd have like 6 layers, 6 layers of, that can never work for me.
Right.
I can have a conversation with anybody, and if I like it, let's do it. And I see it has worked for me in my life.
And it's made you who you are, basically, as well.
And I'm comfortable with it. So, and that would never change. That would never, ever change.
Great. Okay. It's been really lovely chatting to you. And so thank you so much for the time. I know that you're very busy, so taking time out for your schedule is really wonderful. In 3 words, how would you describe yourself?
Crazy, exciting, and daring.
I love that.
No. And trust me, I'm very spontaneous, very, very spontaneous. Hence, crazy. I love fun. I love my life. So hence exciting and daring. Where many would not, what some people would not do, I will give it a shot. What I always say, what's the worst that can happen? That's me. What's the worst that can happen?
And it opens up opportunities as well. I mean,
all the time. Every
that spontaneity and
it's a learning curve.
Just going for it, basically. Absolutely.
And that's who I am. And those who know me, I would always give it a shot. The food festival was a massive one because we didn't know how it was going to pan out. We didn't have the requisite funds to pull off a big fest. I said, no, let's do it. Let's work within our strengths. What's the worst that can happen?
Absolutely. So you have that belief, basically.
Oh, yes. I don't know. As long as you go keep it, we'll start somewhere.
It's been really wonderful talking
Absolute
to you.
Pleasure.
And I really hope that at some point you come back, maybe when you're planning your next food festival, for example.
It will happen.
Okay.
Definitely.
I've been DJAbass, and this has been DJAbass.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.